Hey everybody, welcome to a gameplay video. It's pretty standard, except for I decided to make some notes beforehand, which means I watched the game beforehand, which means I think I know what's going to happen. So, spoilers, I know what's going to happen. I decided I wanted to make some notes. I got a comment on one of my last video, said, maybe some notes would help. I kind of already knew that, it's just I was really lazy, so somebody suggesting it kind of pushed me in the right direction as I hit my hand. Sorry about that. Essentially, though, we're going to see what happens. I'm going to try this format out. If you like it, let me know. I'm going to try and pause less for the folks who just want to see gameplay action, which I also got some of those comments too. So we're going to see what happens and maybe keep doing this. Maybe make this a regular thing. So. It is a replay though, obviously, so I get to go first, looking like a slow hand. Not really a death sentence against our player. We end up playing against energy, so it's not terrible that we have a slow hand. It just means we've got an uphill battle. Again, we're not drawing anything great at the moment, just seeing a bunch of fives and then some creature removal. Maybe should have held on to that Ranger's Bane instead of the Bear Paw there, just so that I would have been able to deal with any potential units that come out more easily. I think at this point, again, the Bear Paw sticks around. It's starting to feel like a blunder, a screw up. The Bear Paw's great. I think, it would be good to preserve my unit health, but in the end, it would have been better to probably have some removal in this game. We do end up having a little bit of a conversation there, so ignore that. Like at this point right here, yeah, having the Ranger's Bane would have been really nice. But we get a Sister of the Fox, and then I think this is where the Bear Paw, the rally goes, that's what it was. But we put the Kinfolk Brave down, and then we do a little bit of a shuffle here. We think about it for a second. Essentially, this is the play around Inferno Blast shuffle. And one of the themes against playing against energy is that you're going to need to know how to play against Thunder Surge. We were doing that already by keeping our units not adjacent, but we don't know if he has Infernal Blast yet, and Infernal Blast would suck right now. But Iron Whip sucks pretty bad too. With this play right here, we see, obviously we're getting some more good stuff in our hand as I scroll up from my notes. Getting some good stuff, but just not able to really capitalize and cast it yet. We're gonna lose that Sisters of the Fox, but we move it up just in case, for some reason our opponent is bad and moves that automaton out of the way. Round 6, we see definitely our opponent is now potion resistance on that clock library. That's not great. What that means is that we're in trouble. We need to start either dealing with it or figure out if we can deal with it. We should definitely be taking more time here. And in the end, on this turn, what we see is me looking at 2 Fertile Soils of Vitality Well and a double Kinfolk Veteran. Now, I have no idea what to do at this point. What I probably should do is just sack one of the Fertile Soils, or use one of the Fertile Soils on the Great Wolf. What I try and do is I try and find a quick answer to help me fight that clock library. Now that was a dumb play, because really with the potion resistance there's not going to be a way for me to stop it in time, and I just should have ignored it, and I'm gonna stop badgering or belaboring the point because it doesn't matter at this point. I can't take it back. But it causes me to make a couple silly decisions. That Fertile Soil was fine, I think, knowing that my unit was going to die, and then I get that Vader ends up getting out of the way. But yeah, I think that Fertile Soil was fine. I think on my next turn, though, I'm so focused on trying to find an answer to stop that, especially now that potion resistance is gone. I'm just not there, though, and so instead I sacrifice a Brother of the Wolf to get 2 more scrolls, when really I probably should have gone to 7, because that would have gotten me to 8 quicker. Really not the best plays out of me. But now you can see 7 scrolls in hand. We're definitely behind. Um, we do see a little bit of a strange play here with our opponent sacking and then putting down that mortar. Mortar clock library, that's fine. I don't think you put it. He's sort of tempting fate there. You put it that close to the Great Wolf. You just sort of ask for them to die. I think I would have, if I was him, I would have made the effort to put them up higher. That quake puts us back in the game. It's a really wonky quake though. Not our best. It's like a dirty quake. It feels like a dirty quake. Does that make any sense? We end up losing a lot of stuff out of it, but it feels like it puts us a little bit more back in that game, or in this game. Then we see some more stuff coming down on his side, just all kinds of craziness, and then we get gifted an extra quake. That really helps us into this play of just wiping his board, and then having a pretty great hand. However, he's at 7 resources and he can respond pretty well. Cannon Automata, or sorry, Hellspitter Mortar comes down, Scattergunner comes down. Our little wolf sitting with 1 health is just not going to get us super far. Again, you see we're trying to play around Thunder Surge, less worried about Infernal Blast at this point, but just trying to get as many units in on the board as possible. We probably had the turn to play that Great Wolf. We just got worried. I don't know why we got worried though. The Iron Whip sucked. We expected that wolf to die, and I think maybe that's what kept me from playing that Great Wolf, is that I knew the other one would die, but really I was just trying to draw into better things, and I don't know. I don't like the way I played the next few turns out. But yeah, huge beefy Fury from him. He gets the Fury off, and we just get destroyed by it. You'll see that coming up in just a second as I spoil it for you. Now here I am thinking he misplays this, but he plays it totally fine. Sparks the little dude, casts a big Fury. Maybe would have killed that Sisters of the Fox, but he didn't have to because his Hellspitter Mortar got it. Yeah, not so great for us. At this point, we're just trying to put units on the board, I think, just to stem the tide. It feels like this is still winnable though, especially there with 2 guys on the board. I really think we can turn this around. Let's see. He obviously moves his team out of the way. He goes and hides for a little bit. That leaves us to try and chase him. I think chasing him's the right play. It doesn't feel great, but and neither does clumping our units together. At this point, with him with 2 resources in hand, we sort of have to at this point if we want to keep fighting in this lane, just to keep his gun or his Hellspitter Mortar from being super deadly. But he goes and just destroys us with a whole big beefy board. Yeah, not so great for us at this point. But he has no scrolls in hand now, so that's good. This is where we start to play less around Thunder Surge, just because, I mean, the chances of him having it are getting greater, but he doesn't have any scrolls in hand, and so we're trying to push our units into that center lane to fight this fight. And then that Vader comes down as sort of protection. It's not the best play. It's sort of a drastic measure, but it's the one I made, so it's the one I have to live with. Again, he's doing pretty well though. That Iron Whip was good. That Fury is even better. Leaves us in a crappy spot, but because we moved that wolf over, we can at least get some value and take some stuff down. Now we decide not to play anything right there, and the reason why is so that we can use the mangy wolf, I think, to count for countdown manipulation. it ends up working out for us, but it might have been better to put down that Mangy Wolf and then just rally next turn. But we pitched the rally, put out a Frost Gale just to start dealing damage to his team, and we know we're playing the Mangy Wolf this turn, so we Frost Gale, play the Mangy Wolf, our other Mangy Wolf attacks, and then it essentially negates the Frost Gale for us. We have access to another Frost Gale even, so we're doing pretty good. Yeah, definitely a big fertile soil in the works. Really looking bad there with all the stuff he's got on the play, out in play. A really big fertile soil for us though. We see with 5 resources left after that fertile soil, we use 2 for a Frost Gale to take part of his team out, and we Sisters the Fox into a Ragged Wolf. Now with 1 resource left, it makes a lot of sense to cast out that Ragged Wolf, but obviously we're not going to attack that Cannon Automaton, and we don't know if we want to put it on that Gun Automaton, so we actually just hold our Ragged Wolf there. That's kind of an interesting play. I don't know if it was the right play or not, but I think I still stand by it as being a fine play. Huge Fury from him. That's just a gigantic Fury that takes out another one of our idols. This puts us really on. We're definitely crippled here. We're in a bad spot. But we have a handful of little guys, and we can, make the plays to start removing his team. So we pitched the rally there to get us up to 10, because we can then cast a Frost Gale, cast a Ragged Wolf, put out the Ranger's Bane and the Veteran, and then the Ranger's Bane. Now we've got this Automaton dead, we've got that Gun Automaton dead, and we have a Dust Runner and a Cannon Automaton, and we put the Ranger's Bane on that Cannon Automaton. The Concentrate fires a neat trick here, so he gets to attack twice. The first time nothing, but the second time it satisfies his 3 or less health. We burn through what we've got on our hand. Always again still playing around Thunder Surge. Yep, see, just moving everything around Thunder Surge, but we're less worried about Infernal Blast at this point. We're still unsure as to how this game will end, so we're being as defensive as possible, trying to not get sniped with a Copper Automaton shenanigans. And it's kind of a bummer, that Gravelock. It's going to be hard to deal with. Quake, we obviously don't want to cast that Quake. It's going to kill most of our team. But yeah, we make a little bit of a blunder here when we're think really hard about moving units. I bring that Mangy Wolf down just to perhaps engage more in this lane, but I really should have left him there, just because it was still too early. Even he had 1 scroll in hand. It only takes 3 to take out an idol. So in this turn, that Potion of Resistance is huge for him. There's no way we can kill that creature this turn. Looking at what we have, this is kind of bleak, but we're gonna go ahead and do some tricks here. Again, we don't, we're desperate at this point, so we're trying our best to play around Thunder Surge, but really, there's no great way to do that at this point. We're doing this to keep that lane protected in case he has a way to buff this Elder and take out this lane. We have to have some way to keep this lane from getting damaged. We're gonna have to make a tough decision here. So we pitch. We still don't see anything great. But looking at what he has on the board, we make the call to Quake. Really a hard Quake to make there, but I just couldn't let those guys stay on the board without knowing, without him having the chance to retaliate. So we still had 2 units on the board, so it put us in not a terrible position. Violent Dispersal, I think that was not great. The spark was not fun either. But yeah, now we're starting to realize he's not looking at the win in his hand, and we see that because obviously he's at 1 scroll, and we can see that in this play he makes right here. He burns out our guy, that's fine, but when he plays units, he plays to engage our unit. So he's obviously not staring at the one scroll in his hand's not a magma pack, because it's not the best way. This would not be the best way to sort of capitalize on that, to like sniper final idol. So knowing that, we start to get a little less worried about the possibility of getting idol sniped, which I don't even know if that's a term or not, but anyway. The wolf comes down here and then quickly dies. Spark, we're okay with that spark. That vitality well, I've always been a fan of vitality well. We see another one here. I think it keeps, I don't think it keeps us in the game, I'd say, but it keeps us out of like spark range. A little bit of a blunder here. We played the first Great Wolf in this middle lane, but now we're playing our second Great Wolf back here. That's not as great because of our ability to then converge on this lane. We can't play around Thunder Surge as well. It's kind of a minor mistake, but just stuff, you know, high level play. You don't want to put yourself in this position. We knew that our wolf, if he would have gone into this lane, he would have wanted to be in front of that veteran, just because it gives him a chance of surviving against that automaton. But we do get Thunder Surged here. Could have saved ourselves 2 damage if we had that unit up top. Fertile Soil to draw scrolls. 6 left in hand. We sack again and put out some wolves. I think that wolf was sort of a recognition that I can't be everywhere at once, but if I can stay in the center lane, I can get to where I need to. But yeah, definitely not able to protect all lanes. And now he's starting to draw worse than we are, and he passes the turn without playing anything. That Fertile Soil's big. We cast an Eye Eagle. Then we sack for the turn. We're holding 5 guys, 5 resources. That was a wrong play. I think with 5 resources in hand, the Brother of the Wolf and the Vader should have came out. And that's just because we weren't in any real pressure, and now we sort of wasted the haste that this unit had on essentially an idol. So I don't really like that play. I would have rather had a Brother down here and maybe a Vader up here. That clock library makes it so that we have to find an answer to that. The wolf's not going to make it there in time. As you can see, he's just not close enough. So we decide to leave the wolf in the center lane, just for some aggression and protect him still. But we know that we will be able to take out that library next turn. Now he brings out a huge cannon automaton. We definitely have to take that down just to keep him off units on the board. You can see we're starting to clump units together, making ourselves more susceptible to Thunder Surge, but at this point we don't really have an option. So what we do here is we make sort of 2 little Thunder Surge clumps. There's like this one and then this one. So that does like 2 things. First, it makes him he has to make a choice, and because he has to make a choice, he could choose wrong. The second thing, the reason why we're clumping like this is we're preserving these guys. If you look countdowns, they're obviously attacking for lots next turn, so we want to keep them out of the Thunder Surge equation. Here we draw the Crimson Bull. That pretty much puts us in the win. We do the math. We make sure we can take it all down, and then we give the good game. Definitely a well played match. And then we go on to talk about Thunder Surge, but Yeah, it really is an interesting game. And if you remember back to the beginning, we had a really slow start with a double Kinfolk Veteran and double Bear Paw. Now it happens that you're gonna have these slow starts. It's just part of the game. But your goal should be to stay alive. If you remember back some of those blunders that letting that Bear Paw stay in our hand, where we pitched like a Ranger's Bane and a Frostgale. Really, we should have prioritized taking out his units when we weren't able to play our own, in lieu of playing our own, I guess. But yeah, definitely an interesting game. I don't quite know how I came back, but that's how this game can be, though. There was no real way for him to finish us off. I don't think he missed anything too crazy, but I wasn't looking at his hand. The direct damage spells, while he had lots of them and kept us off the board, it just didn't have enough pressure to sort of finish the game. So that's all she wrote, I guess. And I hope you guys enjoyed all that content. I hope you liked the speed of that. If that was too fast, let me know. I was talking quick. I was trying to not pause. I didn't pause at all. And I was actually really surprised I didn't pause at all. But I think I got the main points, and I think you guys learned something, hopefully. I don't know. Anyway, thanks for watching, as always. Until next time.